Have you ever felt like you were living in a dream, only to wake up and find everything falling apart? What would you do if the foundation of your happiness suddenly crumbled, leaving only shadows where there used to be warmth? Did it ever happen to you that the people who were always supposed to be there just weren't anymore? I remember that day vividly, surrounded by the suffocating silence of my dimly lit room. The curtains were drawn, casting long shadows across the floor, cluttered with old photographs and letters. Those were the remnants of a life I used to know. As I sat there, I was staring at a photograph of us, my family, smiling like everything was perfect. But I knew better. It was as if we were all actors in a play, each smile hiding the deeper story, a storm trapped in a glass bottle. It seemed so distant now, like someone else's life, not mine. Everything seemed fine from the outside. We looked the part, said the right things, celebrated the mundane joys of life. But inside, behind those closed doors, I felt like an outsider in my own existence. The isolation crept in slowly like a shadow at dusk, making its presence known when the world was still. The day it all changed is etched into my memory. It's like a haunting tune that plays on an endless loop, reminding me of how fragile everything really is. That was the day the illusion of normalcy shattered, the day I first understood true solitude amidst a crowded room. It was the day I lost my brother, and with him, the anchor of my life. The world I knew was washed away one rain-soaked afternoon. I remember the steady patter against the window, a rhythmic backdrop to a phone call that felt like a lightning strike to my soul. The words were jagged, slicing through the air with a finality I couldn't immediately grasp. My brother, my steadfast anchor, was gone, snatched by a cruel twist of fate. The accident was as sudden as it was unforgiving, a brutal reminder of life's merciless transience. In the days that followed, I moved through a daze, each moment a blur of hollow condolences and the mechanical rituals of loss. Funeral arrangements unfolded like a tragic play I was forced to attend, faces blurred together, their voices a cacophony of "I'm sorry for your loss," each offering only deepening the chasm of my isolation. It was like standing in a crowded room, screaming at the top of my lungs, and yet no one truly heard me. Numbness settled in, a heavy fog clouding my every thought. Nights became a restless swirl of memories and regrets, the what-ifs playing on an endless loop in my mind. I wandered the empty streets, hoping to find some echo of my brother's spirit, some sliver of the connection we once had. But the night offered only silence, its dark expanse mirroring the void left inside me. Guilt gnawed at my insides, the unresolved conflicts with my brother now haunting phantoms I couldn't dispel. They whispered accusations in the quiet moments, a relentless chorus that left me raw and defenseless. Friends slipped away, their well-meaning attempts to offer comfort only emphasizing the gulf between us. I was alone, adrift in a sea of grief that showed no signs of receding. Standing at my brother's grave, I spoke to the wind, beseeching the universe for some sign, any sign, that he heard me, that he understood. Yet all that returned was silence, a silence that shattered something deep within me. In that silence, I realized that I was left with nothing but the echoes of a once vibrant life and the aching need to find a way back to myself. The days after the funeral blend into an indistinct haze, a murky wash of time and sorrow where mornings are indistinguishable from nights. I drift through life like a ghost, unseen and unresponsive, dragged along by an invisible current of grief. My world narrows to the confines of my room, strewn with discarded memories in the form of photographs and letters, each one a shard of a life that once felt whole. I wander through this wreckage, searching for meaning, for a sign that everything isn't as broken as it seems, but all I find is silence. I try to reach out, to grasp onto anything that resembles comfort, but friends slip away like shadows. They're once familiar faces, now strangers, reflecting my own isolation. "We're here for you," they'd said, empty words that echo with the hollowness of unfulfilled promises. I pull away, retreat into the sanctuary of my solitude, where the only voices are those in my head, looping the same tormenting refrain. What if? What if? What if? Guilt, a relentless shadow, clings to me, whispering accusations of words left unsaid and love left unexpressed. It becomes a companion, a constant reminder of my failure to save him, to be there when he needed me most. Nights are the worst, when sleep evades like a cruel lover, leaving me alone with the chorus of memories, his laughter, our fights, the finality of his absence. I stand at his grave, an immovable sentinel, hoping for a breeze of his presence or a whisper of solace. But there's nothing, just the ceaseless wind and the dark earth. Abandoned by those around me, I feel a growing numbness seep into my veins, a creeping paralysis that renders each day more exhausting than the last. There's a part of me that screams for release, a silent cry that reverberates through the chambers of my heart, begging for an end to this relentless pain. Yet in the stillness, a flicker of resistance stirs, a whisper beneath the torrent urging me to hold on. I uncover a forgotten diary, its pages etched with my brother's hidden struggles, a mirror of my own desolation. In this discovery, I find a strange kinship, an understanding of the silent battles he fought. Here is the seed of empathy, a fragile tendril reaching out for connection, for forgiveness. Though the path forward is hazy, there's a tremor of hope, a tentative step toward healing. I am not alone, and perhaps in time I can learn to breathe again, to live in a world where he is both absent and forever present. In the dim corners of my mind, I sit amidst the debris of my own making, each photograph a fragment of a life once whole. The days blend seamlessly into nights, their passing marked only by the slow dance of shadows on the wall. Here, in this space of solitude, I teeter on the precipice of an abyss, an internal storm raging with a ferocity that words fail to capture. The weight of my brother's absence presses down like a leaden fog, suffocating in its silence. It feels as though the world has spun off its axis, leaving me adrift in a void where echoes of what might have been taunt my every thought. Despair carves its path through my soul with the delicate precision of a scalpel, slicing through the veneer of composure I once wore like armor. In the stillness of this room, I contemplate the permanence of darkness, my spirit a fragile thing, unraveling thread by thread. Yet, amidst this unraveling, a whisper stirs, a barely audible voice within, urging me to cling to the last vestiges of hope. I find it in the most unexpected place, a worn diary, its pages touched by the ghost of my brother's handwriting. His words reach across the chasm of time, speaking of battles I never knew he fought, struggles obscured by the facade of his laughter. This revelation pierces the shroud of my self-imposed isolation, awakening within me a flicker of empathy, a bridge to understanding not only his pain, but my own. In this moment of clarity, I recognize that we were both lost in our own storms, blind to each other's silent cries for help. As I trace the ink on those yellowed pages, something shifts within me, an imperceptible yet profound change. I resolve to seek the light hidden within these shadows. I reach out tentatively to the world that I had kept at bay, embracing vulnerability like a lifeline. Therapy, support, and even the quiet comfort of a friend's presence become my tools of survival. I take hesitant steps toward healing, not as a conquest of grief, but as an acceptance of its place in my life's tapestry. And so, I begin to rebuild, acknowledging the pain that will forever walk beside me, yet choosing to move forward one cautious step at a time. In this journey, I learned that healing is not about eradicating scars, but about finding beauty in the resilience they signify. With each small act of remembrance, with each story shared and heard, I find strength, not just for myself, but in the quiet hope that my journey might light the way for others lost in similar darkness. Standing here in this sacred place, once filled with laughter and brotherhood, I feel the ache more deeply. It's strange how grief becomes a companion, a shadow that never quite leaves. I think of him, of us, and how life unraveled around that one phone call. His absence is a presence in every moment I breathe, a haunting echo of what could have been. I've learned that pain isn't an enemy to conquer, but a part of me to embrace. We shared this place, these memories, and now they're mine to carry, a mixture of joy and sorrow intertwined. I've started speaking my truth, my pain, and though it doesn't erase the loss, it lightens the burden. Every time I share, it's like reaching back through time, touching his essence, keeping him alive in stories and lessons. I've begun mending the threads of my life, sewing connections with others who bear similar scars. As I stand before those who understand, I offer my story not as a cure, but as a comfort. We are all stitched together by loss, yet tethered by hope. In our vulnerability, there's a kind of strength, a way through the darkness. We don't heal by forgetting, but by remembering, by allowing our wounds to breathe. So here I am, living with the echoes, with him, learning that the heart doesn't close around pain, but grows to encompass it. In the gentle embrace of solitude, Alex finds themselves once again in that dimly lit room where shadows dance softly across the walls and the air is heavy with memories. The remnants of an undone past are scattered like leaves in autumn's breath. Each photograph and letter a fragment of the story they have carried alone. Quietly nestled in the cocoon of retrospection, Alex breathes in the silence, allowing the grief that once clung so fiercely like a storm to settle into the stillness of acceptance. The room that once echoed with the hushed whispers of despair now resonates with a calm that feels like the first gentle rain after a drought. The haunting memory, once a relentless tide threatening to erase all of Alex's shores, has found a rightful place in the tapestry of their heart. It rests there, neither forgotten nor forgiven, but simply acknowledged as part of the intricate weave of their life. As Alex stands in the sacred space where they've come to honor their brother, there is a profound realization that echoes within. The loss, the pain, the unresolved echoes of the past are not maladies to be cured, but companions to be lived with. In this moment of quiet reflection, Alex understands that the path of healing is not a linear road paved with forgetting, but a winding journey of embracing. The world outside this sanctuary continues, and so must Alex. With tender courage, they step forward, carrying with them the silent understanding that pain, while immutable, need not define them entirely. The once tumultuous sea of emotions inside has calmed to a gentle lullaby, and Alex knows that their brother walks with them in spirit through small acts of love and remembrance. In opening their heart to vulnerability, Alex finds unexpected strength, not in the absence of sorrow, but in its enduring presence, guiding them towards others who too tread the shadowed paths of loss. In sharing their story, Alex wraps another layer of understanding around their soul and offers it as a beacon to those still lost in the dark. As Alex stands on this familiar ground, it's with a softer gaze, seeing not just what has been lost, but what remains. Life, with all its intricate pains and joys, unfurls before them as a testament to resilience, a story yet unfinished, but held in their hands. Have you ever been through something you've never told anyone about? Something that still lives in your chest? If you feel like sharing it, we're here. Drop your story in the comments, even just a part of it. Every week, we turn one of your stories into a cinematic video, just like this one. This is a safe space. Your voice matters. You're not alone